From the infamous scandal that sent Charlie Chaplin out of the United States to the unresolved death of Thomas Innes, here are the top 10 scandals that defined cinema. Before we go on with the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get notified every time we drop something new. Also, check out our other channel, YaboyRocklee Reactions, for more drama reactions. Now, let's get to the video. Number 10. Rob Lowe's infamous scandal. Back in 1988, when Rob Lowe was just rising in ranks as a teen sensation, a huge scandal plagued his career, which could have tragically derailed his promising future if it wasn't properly managed. Lowe had met two women identified as Lena John Parsons and Tara Siebert at an Atlanta nightclub. Later that night, the teen star drove the two to his room at a nearby Hilton hotel where he filmed their sexual encounter. At a point, Lowe left the room, and by the time he came back, the two ladies had vanished with his money and the tape. It wasn't until the footage got leaked to the press that he realized that one of the girls was just 16, creating a massive mess that led to a deep plunge in his public appeal. Thankfully, the industry stood behind him and he was able to rise out of the scandal a better man. The tape ushered in an era of unfiltered private footage being leaked to the press, a culture that remains a major part of Hollywood till today. Number 9. David Carradine's mysterious death. Best known for his role in the 1970s television drama Kung Fu, David Carradine eventually met a controversial end after his body was found by a chambermaid at the Park Nyalert Hotel in Bangkok. When the star was found, he was naked, slumped in a closet, but the strangest part was the cords bound around his neck and genitals. When news of his tragic death hit the airwaves, everyone was thrown into confusion because even the authorities couldn't determine whether it was a murder case or Carradine took his own life. The drama also brought to light the reality of wild sexual acts that had always been kept under the wraps in Hollywood. According to the autopsy report, the actor was said to have died from autoerotic asphyxiation. Carradine, who had been in Thailand to shoot his latest film Stretch, was said to have lost his life as he attempted to attain the highest level of pleasure possible. But despite the fact that the police had established that he was alone in the hotel room, his wife continued to maintain that her husband had been murdered, and the mystery remains unsolved till today. Number 8. Marilyn Monroe's affair with President Kennedy. During his time at the White House, John F. Kennedy's promiscuity was an open secret that was often featured in tabloids and other rumor-peddling media. But Kennedy's most memorable escapade was with the ultimate blonde bombshell Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was extremely beautiful, so it was just a matter of time before she caught the eye of the president, who was known for his numerous secret relationships. And although the Secret Service tried to hide the details of the affair, whispers from the corridors of power made it public knowledge. After Monroe's tragic passing on August 5, 1962, many people began to attribute that she had taken her life following the assassinations of John F. Kennedy and his brother Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy. Monroe was said to have lost her life due to a barbiturate overdose, but the circumstances surrounding her death have been a subject of mystery for decades. Even more captivating is the story of a double affair which involved both JFK and his brother, forever tainting Monroe's image as the quintessential American model. Number 7. Robert Blake's trial. One scandal that shook the foundations of Hollywood to its core was the sensationalized trial of Robert Blake for the murder of his wife, Bonnie Lee Bakley. The two had begun dating when Blake came out of prison, but their relationship was far from smooth. This was partially due to Bakley's terrible reputation with men. According to rumors, Bakley had a pattern of sending letters and nude pictures of herself to famous men, and many even claimed that she trapped Blake into marrying her by getting pregnant. Before Bakley's death, the couple faced a great deal of domestic trouble, including a widely publicized paternity drama which brought Christian Brando, son of Marlon Brando, into the picture as the possible father of Blake and Bakley's daughter Rose. But a paternity test revealed that Rose was indeed Blake's daughter. Their unhappy union lasted until May 2004 when Bakley was shot dead outside a Los Angeles restaurant while she sat in a car. This was the beginning of a whirlwind trial that derailed Robert Blake's career, but since there was no concrete evidence tying Blake to the scene, he was acquitted. However, he was found liable in a civil trial to intentionally causing the death, and he was ordered to pay $30 million to the victim's children. Number 6. Roman Palansky's scandal. The world still remember filmmaker Roman Palansky not just for his marvelous on-screen creations, but also for the scandal that remains a dark spot on his career. In August 1977, Palansky pleaded guilty to one count of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, as part of a deal that would see him to do less jail time that he would normally have. But the judge wasn't having it, and he was willing to punish Palansky to the full extent of the law. Seeing how bleak his future was, Palansky absconded from the United States and traveled to France just before his sentencing. Till today, Palansky's case remains open, and every attempt at extradition had been met with failure. This Dance with Justice is a story stranger than fiction, and many would agree that it remains one of the most unforgettable scandals in Hollywood history. Number 5. Jackie Kugan sues his parents. Remember the kid from Charlie Chaplin's famous movie The Kid? Well, everyone does. Jackie Kugan was the #1 box office attraction in his heyday, as he constantly lit up the big screen in the 1920s with remarkable performances in box office hits The Oliver Twist and Daddy before he even turned 10. But the legal drama would soon punctuate his life and ultimately alter the course of every child actor's career. According to Californian law at the time, a minor's earning belonged solely to the parents, but by the time Kugan turned 20, he decided to access his life earnings, and that was when he discovered that his mother and stepfather had squandered all his wealth, leaving him almost penniless. Kugan immediately took legal action in 1938, and he sued his mother and her husband to the court. From California, the law spread to other states, ensuring that all child performers were well compensated under the labor law and not treated like slaves born to fatten the pockets of their parents and guardians. Number 4. The Fatty Arbuckle Scandal. The troubles that punctuated the career of popular silent screen comedian Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle started at a raucous 3D party in September 1921. The exclusive party took place at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco and was attended by a specially curated list of individuals. Alcohol was in abundance, and the party was as wild as can be. 26-year-old Virginia Rapp was also at the party, and after getting blatantly drunk, she began to show symptoms of serious illness. There were also claims that she had been sexually assaulted by Fatty Arbuckle, although this has been proven in the court to be false. She eventually died 3 days after of a ruptured bladder, leading to an investigation into the events that had taken place at the party. The media took the story and ran with it, publishing stories that claimed that Arbuckle had crushed the young lady with his weight, while other claims that he had assaulted her sexually with a foreign object. Arbuckle was arrested and charged with manslaughter. In November 1921, the trial began. After many back and forths at the court, Arbuckle was eventually found not guilty of Rapp's death, due to the mountain load of evidence that confirmed that the death had been caused by other factors. This didn't stop Hollywood from blacklisting Arbuckle, and even though the ban was lifted later that year, the damage was already done. Even though Arbuckle tried to resurrect his career after the incident, the world had moved on, and the golden era of Fatty Arbuckle was over. On June 29, 1933, Arbuckle went to bed and suffered a fatal heart attack in his sleep. He was only 46. Number 3. Thomas Ince's controversial death. In the world of Hollywood's murder mysteries, there are certain cases that remain unsolved even after several decades have passed. One such case is the mysterious death of the Newport movie mogul Thomas Ince. Ince had just celebrated his 42nd birthday in a yacht, which was owned by William Randolph Hearst, the famous newspaper mogul. Although the death certificate reported that Ince had died of heart failure, the newspaper reported something different, hinting at the fact that this might actually have been a murder case. Apparently, William Hearst believed that his mistress Marion Davies was having an affair with Charlie Chaplin, who was also at the yacht at the time. Hearst was said to have found the two in a compromising position and, in a fit of rage, tried to shoot either of them, but the bullet found its spot in Thomas Ince's body and he succumbed to the wound he sustained. This story was quickly buried by a mountain of Hearst newspaper and their claims that Ince had not died on the yacht. The case was never pursued achieved to the full extent possible, and so speculations about what happened that day continue to linger in the air. Number 2. Ingrid Bergman's affair. Back in the days when a simple story of an affair had the power to destroy the career of any woman in Hollywood, Ingrid Bergman became a shining example of how deeply damaging that could be. Her escape with Italian film director Roberto Rossellini resulted in an international scandal, as well as a civil liberties crisis in the United States. Politicians began threatening foreign filmmakers with censorship if they trespass on the moral line, and Bergman herself was not left out of the backlash. At the time of their affair, both parties were married, which worsened the situation even further. Prior to the scandal, Bergman was one of the most successful actresses in Hollywood, with roles of hit movies like Casablanca and Joan of Arc. Although their actions were controversial, the reactions they received were considered excessive, and the duo remain a primal example of how Hollywood can make scapegoats out of anybody. Number 1. Charlie Chaplin's Exile. Even the legendary Charlie Chaplin wasn't immune to the troubles of Hollywood. His political outspokenness placed him at odds end with so many people, leaving him at odds end with a lot of people. In the late 1940s, America found itself in the middle of Cold War paranoia. Chaplin, who was a foreigner with liberal and humanist sympathies, quickly became a prime target for the political witch hunt. The government piled up a mountain of accusations against the star, resulting in his eventual exile from the US in 1952. After leaving the US, he decided to abandon the tramp character and instead sought to relish in the nostalgia of his childhood with the release of his movie Limelight. Chaplin settled in Europe and remained with his family at the Manor de Ban in Switzerland. But the story would not end there. The legendary Charlie Chaplin had the satisfaction of outliving all his enemies, as well as their propaganda. In 1972, Chaplin returned to the United States, where he accepted an honorary Academy Award and also received the longest standing ovation in the history of the Oscars. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to YaboyRocklee Reactions for more movie reactions. Bye for now and see you in the next video.